How you guys doing?
Hi guys.
Hello.
Good.
How are you?
We're doing just great. We're having a fun Florida Supercon, and we're a whole booth full of best-selling, famous science fiction authors. So we are autographing for everybody, and you just happened to walk by right when I caught your eye. So good to meet you.
What is your favorite book out of Star Wars?
My favorite book out of Star Wars? Well, it's got to be the ones I wrote. I mean, I wrote Jedi Search and the Young Jedi Knights books and the Tales of the Bounty Hunters. I've done a lot of these, the brand new June books with Frank Herbert's son, Brian. And I have a lot of my own books, too. I've signed a lot of autographs this weekend and met a lot of fans.
How much do you think that you sold?
Oh, we probably sold about 500 or 600 books this weekend.
Did you have to sign all of them?
Yes, I had to sign all. Well, we have a bunch of authors here at the booth, so I signed mine, and other authors signed theirs too.
So you're not the only author?
I'm not the only author. We have, I'm Kevin J. Anderson, we have Andrew Grant, we have Scott Savage, we have Keith Candido, we have lots of different authors here at the booth. Thank you. Thank you.
This is Jocelyn Upton, Hollywood Connections, reporting live from Supercon in exciting Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm here with Brian O'Halloran, who is best known for his role in Clerks. Thank you, Mr. O'Halloran, for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Not at all, Jocelyn. Thanks for having me.
What was the biggest challenge you had making your first indie film?
Well, making the first indie film, we all had real jobs. So the biggest task was just getting enough sleep and enough food in us to last. Working a regular 9-to-5 job and then coming in. We didn't film until like 10:30 at night till 5 in the next morning. Go home and start our jobs, and we would sleep between like 5 o'clock and 9 p.m. hours.
Wow. What are some other films or TV shows you might see?
You might have seen me from other films like Kevin Smith's Mallrats, Chasing Amy. I did another movie called Brutal Massacre. We did the Clerks cartoon for ABC. I've appeared on a couple of episodes of Comic Book Man, which airs on AMC after The Walking Dead. And I'm working on a few things too.
Wow. Which one was your favorite?
Oh, that's like asking the mother her favorite child. You know, there's never one favorite. They're all special to me in many different ways. Obviously, Clerks, because it was the first film all of us ever did. And going through that experience and going to film festivals and seeing people going like, wow, we really love your work. And now, years later, coming back and doing, like I say, Clerks 2, and we're going to be in the future doing some more films. We're going to do another Jay and Silent Bob. Start shooting that in October.
Wow, that's great. Who was your favorite actor or actress when you first started out?
Oh, people who I idolize. You know, Anthony Hopkins was a big fan. Was a big fan of Anthony Hopkins. You know, everybody will say De Niro and Pacino, but they're fantastic actors. There's some, Meryl Streep you can't go wrong with either. I'm a big fan of comedy, so people like George Carlin was always a great guy that I'm fortunate enough to work with. And also, there's so many I can go on and on.
Who's your favorite now?
Who's my favorite now? Oh, that's a good question. So many great people now. Like, Ben's been really good. Ben Affleck's been really good lately. I've enjoyed everything he's been doing, so I'll say that.
Okay. Who's running the store while you're gone?
Nah, who's running the store? Nobody's running the store. Who would be at the store on a Sunday morning?
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is Jocelyn Elkatib and...
You're listening to Hollywood Connections.
Live from Hollywood, reporting with Hollywood Connections, live from Supercon, exciting Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm here with
Lindsey McKeon.
Best known from
Supernatural, One Tree Hill, Saved by the New Class. What?
Miss
McKeon.
Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time.
You're super welcome.
How young were you when you started acting?
Oh, I was a little bit younger than you were. I was 10 years old when I started doing commercials, and then about 12, 13 when I started doing theatrical work.
Oh, okay. Who was your favorite actress or actor when you first started?
Oh my gosh, you guys. My favorite actor or actress back then?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I can't remember. I think I'm having early onset Alzheimer's. That's the way. I was just having a conversation with another woman about this today. But besides that now it's Angelina Jolie. When I was young, I have no clue.
Okay. What are some other films you may see?
I have a couple TV shows coming up. If you want to follow me on Twitter at Lindsey McKeon or on Facebook at Lindsey McKeon, you can see what's coming up. One sci-fi TV show and then another like super edgy dramatic show. And I'm writing and creating some of my own as well. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Which was your favorite project to work on?
One of them was the show that I'm doing called Confessions of a Hollywood Bartender that should be out shortly, where I get to play a super like kick-ass punk bartender that throws F-bombs all the time and has a faux hog and wears tattoos. That was really fun for me.
This is Jocelyn Elkington and
Lindsey McKeon,
you're listening to
Hollywood Connections.
Thank you so much. This is Jocelyn Elkington with Hollywood Connections, reporting live from Supercon, an exciting Fort Lauderdale. I'm here with
Armin,
who is best known for his performance in
many things, but probably Quark in Deep Space Nine, Will Snyder in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and many others.
Mr. Shimmerman. Thank you so much for Who was your favorite actress or actor when you first started out?
My favorite actor and one who influenced me a great deal was Jimmy Cagney.
Who is your favorite now?
Armin Shimmerman.
Good answer.
What are some other films you like seeing?
I was just in an episode of Timeless, but I don't do that much TV and film anymore. Mostly what I do is theater. So if you go around the country seeing plays, you may see me in a play.
Which was your favorite to work on?
My favorite play? Probably King Lear by Shakespeare.
Thank you so much. This is Jocelyn Elkington and
Armin Shimmerman.
And you're listening to Hollywood Connections.
That was terrific. One take and everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Two guys in it. There was a lot of good cast in there, put it that way. And so when I found out I get to work with all these guys and me getting to play something different than the slapsticky funny, like I got to play, again, it was a comedy sort of, but I got to play a mobster and his name was Vinny, and I got to shoot Tommy guns, which was a blast. I got to drive a 1957 Lincoln or something like that. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you see the other names in there?
Yeah, there's
Joe
Michael
Palmer.
Spoli, like Clark, John.
It's a bummer.
Nynth,
What is it?
and John Polito.
John Polito and John Paletta, but the bummer is the one dude passed away. You would know him if you seen him. The one dude's like always playing the bad guy in like all the like Dennis the Menace and all these weird movies if you look them up. Anyway, I had a blast. That's why I did it. Tell her I did it because I got to play a mobster, Vinny, and I got to work with a lot of really cool people in the movie, not including the guy. I don't know that guy, the Korean guy, but everyone else was awesome.
Funny stories with the cast as well.
Funny stories for me is I remember that we were debating one scene where like the one dude draws the gun and then Harvey's supposed to draw the gun, and the director, who was the Mr. whatever, the Korean guy who
was the
Mr. Gu or whatever. So he was like, we should do it this way and this way. And then Harvey was like, no, we should do it this way. And I was like, yeah, I guess we can do it this way. And then I draw my gun, and then you draw your gun, and then he falls. So we were going over the blocking of it all. And I remember he was disagreeing, and I sort of was like, well, I could do it either way. And I remember leaving, we all went to our trailers. He was in his trailer, and all of a sudden Harvey's like assistant came out. I was like, Harvey wants to talk to you in the trailer. And I just remember going, holy fuck, he's gonna be so pissed that I disagreed with, like I didn't agree with him and get us back about this thing. And like my first like full-on conversation with him separately from the blocking or the acting and such, he's gonna be pissed.
He's gonna tie you to a chair, and it's gonna be like fucking Reservoir Dogs.
Definitely. Yeah. I was
Torture. That's a good idea. I like that.
And I remember going inside the trailer and she'd be like, look, I'm really about to apologize. And he's like, hey, do you want to just go through this scene with me? And I was like, all right, cool. He's like, yeah, let's just read some of the scenes and let's go over that thing and see which way works better. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So I don't know, that really stood out to me. It will stay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Purple is her, orange is you, and
So you have ratings for? Oh, okay.
she's going to ask you some candid questions.
Okay, so you don't have dialogue written for me.
No, just the last part is for you. You have to just answer honestly.
enough.
That's it.
This is Jocelyn Alcatel with Hollywood Connections, reporting live from Supercon, an exciting Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is your Mewes. Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Thank you for waiting to give me your time. I think that makes sense, but yes.
What was the biggest challenge you had making your first film?
That's a good question actually. The whole thing was a challenge. For some reason, I wasn't planning on making movies. I was roofing, a roofer, like on houses. But Kevin, today I wrote a movie and I threw you in it. But for some reason, when the camera was on me, like right now, I would get super nervous. Even doing interviews and stuff, like 20 years ago, for some reason, even though I acted, Kevin wrote Jay. The Jay character was based on me and how I acted and said and did. I'd pull my thing out, I'd say, hey, this, noochies. But for some reason, when there was a camera on me and I had to do the same thing, I'd get nervous. I think because when I used to do all that stuff, it was for my own entertainment, not other people's. But when the camera was on me, I felt like I was performing for people, and it made me nervous. So really, the whole movie was tough getting through because I was super nervous. I'd make people go inside. We were shooting inside the store when we worked. I'd have everyone go outside unless they had to be there, which was like, of course, Brian, Kevin directing, or Silent Bob. But the other extras and stuff, I'd be like, oh, do we need these two people here? Does this person have to be here? And I'd literally send them outside because I'd get so nervous. So, for example, if we were doing this back then, I would have he'd have to wait outside, and it would have to be just him and you. So, it's the truth. It's the truth. So.
Who was your favorite actress or actor when you first started out?
What I can remember from right now, one of the big actors or comedians that I really liked back then was Jim Carrey. But I don't want to say he's an influencer or anything, but I was a super fan of all his movies and the animation in his face and the obnoxiousness of him. So we'll say Jim Carrey.
Who's your favorite now?
I would say Kevin Smith.
What are some other films we might have seen here?
I did a bunch of indies that I like. Someone was just talking about earlier. There's a movie I did called The Last Godfather. It was a Korean movie. Well, the producers and the director was Korean, but it was Harvey Keitel was in it. It was lots of fun. Another one called what's that movie? It's called Zombie Hamlet, where I play an actor playing an actor in a Hamlet movie. I play Hamlet, but then we lose funding, so we make it cheap by doing zombies instead. And then Bitten, a lot of people seem to call out Bitten Noobs, which is all about Gears of Wars and video gamers who go and do this tournament. Lots of fun. I'm hoping to do a second one of that. And then my movie, my first directorial debut, it's not out yet, but it's called Madness in the Method. But keep an eye out for it because hopefully it'll be out by next summer.
Which was your favorite project to work on?
Mallrats. Mallrats was the first studio movie I'd ever done. I got to meet Stan Lee for the very first time, which was like meeting Jesus. To me, honestly, back then, I was a big comic book fan then and now, but it was really awesome. I got to meet Stan. But again, the whole process was super fun because it was a studio movie. It was surreal. I was shocked, and I had lots of fun.
What does Snooch the Nooch mean?
Snooch the Nooch means I'm just kidding. It started off as ne, just kidding, and then ne, and then nooch. So I would say, hey, I made out with your father back there, your father being the guy back there, and I would go nooch, meaning just kidding. Good?
Can you please do the dance?
She's like, I don't want to know about you making out my father. The dance. Wait, what about the dance?
Can you do it?
I don't know the dance. Sorry, I don't know what dance. There's many dances, but I don't want to do any dances right now. I'm feeling shy.
Last question. I saw the Zack and Miri.
Zack and Miri Porno, make a porno.
Yeah.
You watch that?
movie.
I hope not.
Was it hard for you?
To pull my wiener out? It wasn't hard for me, and it was not hard. But it was, it was tough because I knew my wife's mother was going to see it, my mother-in-law, my nieces and nephews. Because my sister lets my nieces and nephew watch the movies. Now they're older, but then they were like 9 and 12. And so it was tough because I didn't want them to see my business, and it would be awkward. So
Thank you so much.
thank you.
This is Jocelyn Alcative
And Jason Mewes,
and you're listening to
the Hollywood Connections.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.